Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio on December 15th, 2022. And some of you know I live in Maine, and it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. We're expecting 5 to 10 inches of snow tomorrow. Okay, that'll be Friday, December 16th. So I'm glad this show is the 15th. All right, we got a great show. Old friend Dr. Koerner is here. Lori is an assistant superintendent of actually human resources and elementary education, okay, at a school district on Long Island and out on the island. And she's great to have here. She's done a number of shows with us. She's a published author. And today we're going to talk about her thoughts on establishing a culture of care to increase student outcomes and shifting the culture, and I might add to increase, she's in charge of human resources over there, to increase teacher retention, which is a big problem right now. School culture has to reflect all of that. So we're going to have a wonderful conversation with Dr. Koerner, who I just learned, I didn't know this about Lori all these years, was an adjunct professor of special education, special ed. So she's going to heaven. Okay, at several universities in New York. I love having Lori here. We're going to archive the show at ace-ed.org. That's where everything we do is. Our magazine on equity and access. And Lori, you're welcome to write an article for us. Okay, equity and access is over there at ace-ed.org. seltoday.org. Teacher-retention.com is over there. All the podcasts are there. Everything's linked. And our magazine, okay, which we're so proud of, the new issue, just click on the cover and enjoy it. Everything's at ace-ed.org. And let's see if Lori will take me up to write an article for us. You want to write an article for us, Lori?
Sure, I'd love to. Thanks, Larry.
Do it. You're always welcome. Are you kidding me? How you doing, Lori?
I love a new project. I'm doing well, Larry. How are you?
You fill up the hours in your day. You are so good. I love it.
Thank you.
So busy.
Thank
you know, it's good. And I didn't know you were a special ed teacher.
Yeah. Well, I taught general education for 26 years, elementary, but I do have the special ed degree, and it's such an important part of everything that we do.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I taught at the college level for about a decade.
I know you did, and now you're superintending. Okay, out there in Long Island. Okay,
whatever that means, right?
Yeah, whatever the hell that means. And I looked up your teacher, your human resources. You're in charge.
So human resources and elementary education, daily operations, essentially, right?
You know, they got the right person. Tell me what's going on with human resources, because I just want to start here. We're real concerned about teacher retention. You know, the pipeline is getting smaller and smaller of new teachers. The baby boomer teachers are retiring. Everybody's, you know what's going on out there. How are we doing where you are?
Yeah, I think across, the nation probably. Yeah. People are tired. I think the pandemic, did a number. But what I can tell you is that, our people continue to be passionate and dedicated and, to do what's best for kids. So, but we have to take care of them. We have to take care of our people so that they can take care of the children.
That's exactly right. And if the children are well taken care of, I have to just say this, the teachers are, if the kids are well taken care of and engaged, okay, and that's a district-wide situation to make that happen, okay? In that case, the teachers will be so much happier teaching engaged, happy kids. And
absolutely.
They'll stay. It's all the same tent, and we got to make sure everybody under it is doing okay. Okay. And on this note, and I think you wanted to talk today more about, and take it any way you want, but I think you wanted to talk about faculty-student relationships. Okay, in this culture of care, and probably student as well. Just talk about how you want to define what you want to talk about.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. And I'll talk about anything. I'll talk about anything, but this is very important.
Lori, I love having you on. Be my guest. However you want to take it. Go ahead.
Thank you.
We'll go from there.
No, this is a serious topic, and it's a very important topic, and I believe it should be at the forefront of everyone's vision right now. In that we need to create a culture of care in schools. So what does that mean? That means taking care of the people that we serve, right, so that they can take care of the children that they serve. So I think it's all encompassing, teachers, faculty, staff, students, families, and ourselves. So self-care is a big part of this. So, so what does that look like? It looks like checking in on a daily basis with our team, getting to know them, getting to know their family situations, their personal stories, and making sure that we're offering them the time that they need to take good care of themselves.
You know what you just said echoes, and you know this, okay, exactly what people are always saying here on the podcast and basically what I read about a teacher's relationship with the students, okay? Get to know the kids, get to know their family situation, give them the time they need. And what you're saying, of course, you believe that for the kids, but you're saying, and I think this is sometimes overlooked, we need to do the same things for the people we work with, i.e. you as a superintendent, okay, and they as the teachers, the faculty, and staff, okay? And sometimes we overlook that. And how do you go about doing that, Lori? How do you do that?
It's a great question. Well, first of all, we know that kids don't learn from people they don't like. Rita Pearson said that. Yeah. If you haven't seen her TED Talk, I highly recommend it.
Yeah.
So kids tend to like people more when they're happy and when they're pleasant and when they are motivated and inspired and passionate, right? So how do you do that? It's the way that we speak to each other. It's the way that we greet each other every day. A smile goes a really long way. A pleasant comment can really make someone's day. Same with the children. We greet them at the door. When they're late, we thank them for showing up. It makes a difference. It's a shift in culture.
It is.
Because, obviously, Larry, if a child's late to school, there's a reason behind that behavior.
Yes.
There's a reason behind every behavior. So, instead of saying, why are you late, which may even be out of the child's control, we say, so happy to see you.
Yeah, it's the opposite.
Yeah.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it makes a difference.
It does make a difference, and when you say it makes a difference, okay, and I'm asking this to be funny. What difference do you see? Okay, it makes a difference, but what is that difference that you see?
Listen, we know childhood anxiety and depression continue to rise. We know that even adults, their emotional well-being, it has generally overall has changed. The research shows it. So what difference does it make if a child is coming late to school with an invisible heavy backpack, right, on their shoulders there, and they know that their teacher's going to welcome them and greet them? It lessens the anxiety of being late. And the same thing goes, and so they show up instead of staying home. Yeah. And the same thing goes for our team, our employees, right?
That's a good point.
If somebody calls and says, Lori, I'm running late today, okay, drive safely.
Yeah. As opposed to why the hell are you late?
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Couldn't you leave on time? And, actually, that's a very good point, okay? Because, again, it's so obvious, but it's a very good one. You used to get yelled at for being late. I remember my grandmother, that was long, long gone, okay? When she was young, she worked at a department store, and she was late. The guy would say to her, and I didn't understand this, when she said to me, because I was a little kid, she said, the guy would be mean, and he'd say, what'd you do, have fish for breakfast? Oh. Now, you know what that meant? That meant that she was picking the fish off the bones. Oh. Okay, and that's why she was late. Okay, I didn't understand what he was asking, but that was the cliche way back when. Okay. And it was harsh, and she had a bad memory of this job and working, because working conditions back in 1920 or whatever it was were harsh. Okay.
Yeah, we don't want children to have bad memories of
exactly.
School. Right.
And I'll tell you something, Lord. There's an interesting thing going on. A lot of school districts have, and I'm sure you guys probably do too, have grow your own, where you want kids to come back and teach at the school.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And which works well, but we are very short of black and brown teachers. All right. Mm-hmm. And I always say one of the reasons for that. Okay, and one of the reasons for this whole teacher shortage is that kids didn't necessarily have a great time in their 12 years of school,
Mm-hmm.
okay? And
Mm-hmm.
if you think about it, if you don't have a good time at a place,
Mm-hmm.
you're not going to go back there to work. Nobody wants to work at a place they didn't like, okay?
Exactly.
The more people, and to follow through with what you're saying, when you're good to your people and to your kids, okay, the response is that I like this place.
Mm-hmm.
And when all's said and done, the cycle that they maybe come back here to work, okay, you're not going to get everybody, quite obviously, but you'll get more than you did before, okay, because it's a nice place to work.
Well, listen, when we have our new Professionals Institute, one of the first questions I ask our new faculty and staff members is, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are you back in school? Why do you want to stay in school forever? And the answer is always they can recognize a teacher or many teachers that inspired them or, motivated them and that made school look like a wonderful or feel like a wonderful place to be. I have my memories of my teachers who, wow, I want to do this. I want to do this. And here I am 34 years later still doing it, right? So we do want that for our students.
And you wanted me to ask you this question, so I'm going to ask it to you. You might have already explained it, but I'm going to ask you, okay, because you wanted me to. You asked me to say that, what is your philosophy and mantra on all this? Okay?
Did I?
What would it be? You did. You wrote that down. I think you've already explained it, but I'm going to ask you because you may have some great cliche to tell us. Okay, so go ahead. Go for it, Laura. What is your philosophy, Laura? What is your philosophy, your mantra? Go ahead. You asked me to ask it. Now you have to answer.
Now I have to think about it. My mantra on a serious note is it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. Yeah. We can't move the needle. We can't do anything without building trusting relationships with each other, with our students, with our families. So how do you do that? You follow up and follow through. If you say you're going to do something, you must follow through. Say what you mean what you say. It's pretty easy, to be open, transparent, and trustworthy. Build those relationships. That's at the core of everything that I do and that we do as a team. Exactly.
So how do you impress upon your teachers, your faculty, if I may, to do this? Okay, and I know you do it by example. Okay,
right.
But how else? How? I mean, obviously you do, and I know you well enough to know that you do that. But you're welcome.
Thank you.
But how do you impress it upon them to do that? And if somebody's not doing it, and there's always outliers, okay, it's good. Most teachers are very good. I have to say this, some stink, okay, but they have tenure, okay. What can I tell you, everybody? All right, some do, some don't. How do you handle that?
Yeah, I think you make an important point. Obviously, lead by example. We have to be role models for ourselves, for our team members, for our students, for our families. But you can't tell people to be kind or to be passionate or to be. We have to get to know the people that we serve and find out what makes them tick, and then from there we need to make them feel valued. When people feel valued, everything changes. Have you ever not felt valued, Larry? And how did that affect you?
Of course. It's terrible. It's ridiculous.
Professional development based on what they feel they need is key.
That's a very interesting point. I'll tell you, we have our website, which is called teacher-retention.com. We're trying to do everything we can to make sure that we don't lose any more great teachers. And one of the ways we position that website is good professional development. It's just what you just said. We have to stay on top of this, okay, and not just one-off professional development, all that, but really good, solid professional development. Because the kids have changed, okay. Education has changed. It's not going to be like it was, okay.
Well,
it's never going to go back to that, okay.
You said a couple of things.
Yeah,
you're right. but we have to be forward thinking. We can't.
Exactly.
I just posted something this morning. We can't keep doing things the same way we always have and expect improved outcomes or different outcomes, right? So, and the best professional development, in my opinion, is usually down the hall. So we have
say more. Talk about that.
We have some of our teachers have become very invested, and I believe that it will take off like wildfire in the Pineapple Challenge. So, for example, if a teacher has a pineapple on her door, that means come on in and have a look at what's going on in my classroom. And it really inspires the group to learn with and from each other without judgment.
Why a pineapple?
A pineapple's a sign of there's research on this. There's an article on this too. I'll send it to you. Pineapple, I think, is a sign of like welcoming. I may be wrong, but I think that's the whole goal of the pineapple. It's significant. It's significant, and there's tons of research on the Pineapple Challenge, Larry, and you know, hosting ed camps where everyone selects the topic that they're in. We have done that for the last few years, and we've received really wonderful feedback on that approach to professional development.
I think it's really good. Are the teachers sharing a lot amongst themselves these days?
You know, it depends on the group, but yes, for the most part. We need to take that competitive nature out of teaching and make sure that as leaders we're sending the message of unity and support. And I think when you do that as a cultural shift, then people tend to be more open to share with each other. You know, when APPR first came about, the competition was really intense between teachers. Who got this score and who got this, and that's not healthy when it comes to education.
Yes. Well, wait a minute. I'm a little bit lost. You just said teachers are competing, and then you said APPR. I'm not sure what that is.
Okay.
I think I heard you right.
I said when the annual professional performance review part of
okay.
teacher.
I didn't know the acronym. Sorry. Okay,
that's the acronym. Come on, Larry, you know this.
Sorry. Good. Now I learned another acronym. That's 3,457,001. Go ahead. Another educational acronym. Sorry. The APPR. Okay.
APPR.
Good. APPR. All right. Talk about that. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
you said there's...
In my experience, when the annual professional performance review, came to town with Common Core and all of the other, mandates and unfunded mandates, our teachers became competitive.
Wow.
So I found there was less.
Did they see the other person's score?
You know, you don't have to see a score to see the facial expressions and the body language based on, scores. That wasn't good. So we had to remove that. We had to send the message of, we talk about whole child. I saw your blurb on the website. But what about the whole teacher? What about the whole teacher and what they do at night, on the weekends? Good
point. Wow. That's actually, you talk about, I'm going to talk about your books in a minute, but you talk about writing the next book. I don't know what it's about. We'll find out in a second. The whole teacher is a concept that isn't really, that's intuitive, Lori. That's
maybe that'll be my
really
next.
Write down.
Maybe that'll be my next.
You should write that down. I'm serious because everybody talks about whole child. But the challenge right now, I have to say this, we're going to do everything we can for the kids, but the big challenge out there for school districts is retaining teachers. There aren't enough new teachers, and certainly not enough quality teachers coming down the pipeline. That's for sure. Tell you horror stories about that. Okay, the whole teacher idea of management. Okay, maybe I'll steal this and write it for you. Okay,
let's do it together.
No, we should. Okay, I'm telling you, that's something. That's an impressive term, and I've never heard that before. And all the stuff I talk about here, there was talking whole child. But the problem is with the teachers. Yeah, you did good.
Thank you. I like it. I think what we really need to focus on, Larry, is partnering with the universities to establish the teacher programs. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go one for the next 16 years? Okay, about all this?
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you my one big problem right now with the schools of education, and that is that every single superintendent in the country tells me the number one priority for the kids, okay, is social-emotional learning in this post-pandemic world. And to incorporate or to teach social-emotional learning, they're asking the teachers to do it. Throw another thing onto the teachers, and no one has trained them to do this. Okay, there is, as far as I know, there's not a single course in teaching social-emotional learning, even at one place, let alone everywhere. And yet, this is the top priority. The schools of education have to get moving on this. Okay, they got to become dynamic. They got to become the labs to make this work. Just like I hate to say it, the usual in a medical school. Okay,
well,
they got to be the cutting edge.
You make a great point. A great point when you relate to medical school. I just wrote a note here. I think our teacher student teaching should be internships for a year or two, so that our new teacher candidates can really get the deep understanding of what teaching is all about. That's part one. Part two, when you mentioned SEL, I couldn't agree with you more, because SEL isn't a program. It's who we are and what we do every day. And that should completely be embedded in the model for teaching and learning.
It has to be embedded, and it has to be embedded, okay, when teachers, it should be embedded from what they do and what a student does in school, K-12. But when they go to college to become a teacher, it needs to be embedded there, okay, so that, like you were saying before, actions speak louder than words, okay? And if you embed it in there, they're going to take it and embed it when they go into to teaching K-12.
Well, that's right. We have to model it in the in the programs. So what is SEL?
Wacky.
This is SEL, Larry, in my opinion. A child draws a picture. So the teacher says, "What is it?" That breaks the child down. Child draws a picture. Teacher says, "I love your picture. Tell me more about it."
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me more about it. That's SEL, because that
different.
builds the child up. So it's the way that we speak to children. It's the words that we use. It's the way we respond. It's non-reactive. That's SEL.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I want to switch the subject for a second. Talk about your books. Sell some books. And what are you thinking of for the next one? Now that you've got whole teacher. And, I'm going to tell you something. You're an HR director at a school district. And that whole teacher phrasing is, you'll be rich.
I'll start working on it. Now you've inspired me, Larry.
I'm serious. You are the HR superintendent. You're in charge of that. Okay? And there's a way that we look at the kids. We have to look at the teachers the same way. They're people, too, just in case you didn't know. I know you do.
Right,
okay?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I'm glad that you love it, too, because then when it's finished, maybe I can come back on and we can
talk about it. It just came out of your incredible brain, and it's just, I mean, but I'm serious. It's
Thank you.
I've never heard it mentioned before. It's a great idea.
I'm going to get on that, because I do think it's important, and
it is important.
We need to nurture the whole teacher, the whole teacher teaching assistant, the whole teacher aide, the whole food service worker, clerical, security guard, transportation, bus drivers. We need to nurture the whole school community.
Absolutely. By the way, I meant to say something. I forgot. I'm going to tell you. Today's the 15th. On Monday, the 12th, I think it was the 12th, okay, I did a podcast with the people from Nebraska, okay, high-end educators from Nebraska. And just so you know, you talked about getting kids involved early, student teachers and all that sort of thing. They are now, in many school districts in Nebraska, they're paying their student teachers.
We are too. We use them.
Oh, good.
If they're interested in substitute teaching, we can use them as subs if they're on track.
They're not interested in substitute teaching. That's good. Okay.
Yeah.
They are paid to student teach.
Wow, that's
okay.
interesting.
Period. End of discussion. No caveats or anything like that. I mean, they may have to cover an extra class at some point, but they're paid, and they're paid up to $9,000
to do their student teaching.
To do student teaching.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and like the gentleman who I was talking to, Dr. Snows. Okay, he said, we've got to create an incentive for people to get into education school.
They're right.
And we've got to. You said it before. Nothing's going to be the same. Everything's changing.
No,
we have to look at different ways to entice people into the field. Because I'll tell you something, Laura. I was talking to a superintendent down south, an assistant superintendent, in charge of human resources at a large district down south. That's all I'll say. And he in the deep south, and he said he hired 40 new teachers at a job fair. Okay? And I said, that's fantastic. And he said, not so fast. Not a single one of them was certified. Not one. Okay? Now, these are, let's give them a little credit. These are people who want to try teaching. Okay? But they're not certified as teachers. Okay? And he said probably 80% or so will leave after the first year.
Yeah.
So the school district will put all this money into training, all this money into recruiting, okay, and they'll be in the same boat next year.
But that's
okay. And meanwhile, the kids have lost because they don't have a good teacher. They have people maybe with a good heart, but they don't have the pedagogy behind them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I have to think on that one, Larry.
Yeah, it's scary. That's a scary one.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
but that's 40 new teachers, and not one was certified.
No, not good. But if we implemented the internships for a longer period of time during the college years,
I agree with you.
That would be safer, probably. But can I add a chapter to my new book, The Whole Teacher, called The Whole Board of Education?
Yes,
because
you can.
I think it's important for people to know that boards of education are volunteers who put their blood, sweat, and tears into helping the system run seamlessly and effectively and efficiently for kids. Yeah. So
you're correct.
Yeah.
Those people, they put in a lot of time, et cetera, and we got to thank them.
We have to thank them, and we have to be mindful that the decisions they're making are, based on their training and their experiences. So I think that's an important, piece to that puzzle too.
Yeah, it is. It is. Laura, it's great to talk to you. But what do you got a new book? Is your new book? Are you writing a new book now?
I'm always writing.
Are you in process? What's in your head besides Old Teacher? Yeah. What are you writing?
I am. So I have I Can, Inspiration, Empowerment, and Leadership on the shelves at Amazon.com. I have Rosie and the Power of Positivity team on the shelves at Amazon. Those have been very, very successful, and I'm very grateful. And the next one is called Rosie Meets the Green-Eyed Monster. It's a children's book, Understanding Jealousy.
Yeah, jealousy like SEL jealousy, right?
Jealousy like SEL jealousy. That's right, Larry. So really excited about that. And apparently I'm going to have another book coming out called The Whole Teacher. So.
You say, I'm serious. I'm expecting that.
Okay. I accept the challenge.
Okay, do it. And I don't want to hear from about it, okay? Call me anytime.
Okay.
Why don't you write for us? Seriously, write something for us.
I will. I think maybe we should start with an article about The Whole Teacher, Larry, and then see how that goes, okay?
Why don't you do it? I love it.
I will.
Okay?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
Good. I'll be in touch. Okay? Lori Koerner, you're the best. Happy holidays, my dear.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, my friend. You too.
Thanks, pal.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey, everybody. Assistant Superintendent Dr. Lori Koerner, who I think is great. Okay? That's Koerner. If you want to look up her books on Amazon, Lori, Lori. Koerner, Koerner. Okay, we're going to archive this. Well, I got it right here on the website. You're looking at that while you're listening. Okay, I'm going to archive the show over at ace-ed.org and go over there and see all the great stuff we do. I'm Larry Jacobs. This is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio. Thank you for listening.